welcome to week 3 of our 33 Days to Morning Glory retreat. This retreat is based on the book by Father Michael Gaitley, and hopefully you have a copy. If not, there's a link below to where you can purchase it so you can make it part of your spiritual library, which I highly recommend. So this week we are taking a look at a remarkable woman, and that is Saint Teresa of Calcutta. And what a powerful, giving, compassionate person that she was. And of course, the work that she started continues through the Missionaries of Charity, which is the organization she founded. And she really had a devotion to Mary. She certainly felt that Mary was the perfect companion on the journey of life to be closer to Jesus. At a very young age, Blessed Mother Teresa, she had a thirsting in her heart for Jesus. So that was something that very, very young, at about 5 years old, she just felt the need to really be close to Jesus. And she said, "I thirst." So that is a wording that you'll see standard on any building automatically. It's imprinted. It's part of the Missionaries of Charity organization itself. So her deep desire was to quench the thirst of the heart of Jesus for love and for souls. And she lived most of her life in a terrible darkness. So you might have heard, if you've been familiar with her life, that she had the dark night of the soul, and it really lasted most of her life. And she, after about 11 years or so, being in just moments of just deep despair and just feeling alone and kind of continuing, of course, her work, which was completely giving of herself, but feeling almost that her soul was dead in a way. And what she came to realize was that that darkness was to live out really the suffering that our Lord had undergone. And so it was really paralleling her life with the life of Jesus. And so many great, great religious people have had that darkness that really encompasses many, many years or most of their life. If you'd like to find out more about the special religious person, Mother Angelica, and you might be very much familiar with her, she founded EWTN. And I'll link above the video that I did about her, because she really touched me. I read the books that Raymond Arroyo wrote about her life. And so she too struggled and suffered. And it'd be interesting for you to also just find out more about that suffering that she had as well. But I wanted to read you some excerpts from the book that is included in week 3 in the 33 Days to Morning Glory book, because it really points out the suffering that Mother Teresa went through. And here she says, suffering has to come because if you look at the cross, he has got his head bending down. He wants to kiss you. And he has both hands open wide. He wants to embrace you. Then when you feel miserable inside, look at the cross and you will know what is happening. Suffering, pain, sorrow, humiliation, feelings of loneliness are nothing but a kiss of Jesus, a sign that you have come so close that he can kiss you. Isn't that beautiful? So deep. Do you understand, brothers, sisters, or whoever you may be, suffering, pain, humiliation? This is the kiss of Jesus. At times, you come so close to Jesus on the cross that he can kiss you. I once told this to a lady who was suffering very much. She answered, "Tell Jesus not to kiss me, to stop kissing me." That suffering has to come. That came in the life of Our Lady, that came in the life of Jesus. It has to come in our life also. Only never put on a long face. Suffering is a gift from God. It is between you and Jesus alone, inside. So this is coming from a woman that really gave up all of the earthly comforts, and she lived amongst the poorest of the poor in very, very humble conditions. I mean, there was nothing of yourself. It was only the cloak that she wore, and that maybe she had one change of that, so very little, very stark. Everything was for the people that she served. So it was obvious she was a living saint, that she would become a saint after she died. So I want to read you another excerpt about the visions. And I wasn't aware of this until I read this in this book, that she had 3 visions. So the first vision, she saw a huge crowd, and they were calling to her. This was like of the poor and children, and they kept calling to her, "Come save us. Bring us to Jesus." They kept calling and calling. So in the second vision, there was the same crowd as before, but there was intense sorrow and suffering. And she saw that Our Lady was kneeling there and said, "Take care of them." Then the third vision was the same crowd as before, but they were covered in darkness, although she saw them, but they were covered and shrouded in darkness. And Jesus hung on the cross. And Mary was there at the side of Jesus. And Blessed Teresa saw herself as a child. And Mary had one of her hands on Blessed Teresa's shoulder, and the other hand held her arm. And Jesus said to her, and I'm going to read it to you here, "I have asked you, they have asked you, my mother has asked you, will you refuse to do this for me, to take care of them, to bring them to me?" And of course we know the answer to that. That was absolutely, of course. I am ready. I can do. I'm going to fulfill the deep, deep obligation that I have, is to touch as many people as possible. You know, there was a time that when she was working amongst the lepers in India, she saw a man just in the death throes, and she went over to him and administered to him. And he said, "Why do you do this?" And she said, "Because Jesus asked me to do this." And he said, "Who is this Jesus? I want to be like him." Because he saw in her the unconditional love. So It's very poignant when you think about these visions that she had, and Mary being right included in those visions, because Mary was with Jesus. She was with Jesus all of his 33 years, and she loved him and knew him so deeply and knew his mission and wanted to also share, and was very, very proud, I'm sure, of what he had done and the goodness that he had done. But also, afraid, because she knew that he risked his life. But that devotion to Mary is also something that will bring us closer to Jesus as well. So as we go on and prepare for our consecration, we will be studying next week in week 4. It's hard to believe that the time has gone by so fast. Week 4, we will be studying the teachings of St. John Paul II and his Marion devotion. So I hope you have enjoyed the retreats so far. If you haven't seen week 1 and 2, I'll link it above so you can get caught up at this point. And if you have not yet gotten the book 33 Days to Morning Glory by Father Gaitley, look below. I'll give you some links where you can purchase this book. And like I said, it'll be something that you'll refer back to, because we can make our consecration over and over and over again. And as people that sin, we have moments in our life where we have a tendency sometimes to stray away, and we need to recommit ourselves. So this is something you can do over often, yearly if you want, or even more than that. But stay connected and reread these beautiful saints who really give us the example of the love for Mary, because when we grow closer to Mary, she loves us so much as she does Jesus, and she showed that. So she's there for us to intercede, to shower us with graces and abundance of blessings. And no one knows Jesus as well as his mother does, and she loves us as well too. So I hope you've enjoyed this session. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would, and comment. How is the retreat going for you? How have you enjoyed it to this point? And let me know the ways that you feel that you are being drawn closer to Mary. So until next week, have a wonderful, blessed week. And remember, peace be with you always.